We got another email. I told you the cult is speaking today, and they've got some great information coming up also, but this one is from Simon. His last name will be redacted because of what you're about to hear. And once again, folks, this is a listener's statement here. One of the Cult of Cornette members. This is what he's testifying to. We weren't there. It wasn't us. Hello, Jim and Brian. I've been sitting on this for a while and have debated emailing you for a variety of reasons. I attended a Chris Jericho meet and greet Q&A event with Inside the Ropes last year in Belfast, Northern Ireland, where I live.
I'm so sorry about going to that, man. Hopefully we can make it up to you and there'll be a better thing coming to town soon.
Come on now. Hey, Kenny McIntosh is a wonderful entertainer.
I wasn't talking about him.
I can't vouch for any kind of help or support he had on stage. No. This was apparently in July of 2022. The event itself was enjoyable, and Chris Jericho was very welcoming to everyone, and the talk was engaging. It was a great night, and all the fans left happy. I found out a few days after this that the same could not be said for the hotel staff where Chris Jericho was staying overnight before moving on to the next UK tour date.
Uh-oh.
and
hey, Derek!
Well, we've heard a lot from Chris Jericho himself of the problems he has with goods and services when he's on the road, with the hotels, the concierges, the bellhops, the valets, the peripheral people, right? So Simon goes on, a good friend who is a police officer in the PSNI, the Police Service of Northern Ireland, contacted me and showed me body cam footage of a drunken, aggressive, and flexing man in the corridor of a local hotel in Belfast.
Flexing?
The man in question was Chris Jericho. Police were called after reports of loud music, aggression towards hotel staff, and, I love the way they talk over there, general disturbing of the peace coming from the hotel room he was staying in, and my friend was one of the officers to respond. My friend, who shall remain nameless for obvious reasons, parenthetically so he doesn't get fired, recognized Jericho and attempted to talk him down and calm the situation. Jericho raised his arms and flexed to show his dominance to the officers and stated, "Don't you know who I am?"
Oh my God.
And similar phrases one would expect from an inebriated individual. He was then arrested by the officers. I believe he was released when he sobered up a few hours later, but this tickled me to no end. Given his recent tweets and verbal attacks on many different hotels and hotel staff, I thought I would give an insight into what could be happening to precipitate said manic tweets. Now,
wow.
It did, for what, before we get into this,
$10,000 for that body cam footage.
I was about to say, how do you show that? Police officers out there in the cult. Is this a possible thing? Is this a disqualifier? Can you show body cam footage if you're an officer to people, or is it just beamed back to the goddamn government office or whatever? I don't know how that works. But that if it is then the case in Northern Ireland that the cops can just show their body cam footage, that's just swell. And I remember Jericho tweeting at some point a while back that he got kicked out of a hotel unreasonably and was tweeting, I thought it was, "Hey Hilton," or "Hey this" or that.
Hey Derek.
Hey Derek, I'm wandering around because you didn't have my room, or you ejected me from my room, or because this happens so much. Which could we be conflating that with another incident? Is this a heretofore unreported situation?
We recently talked about several which were hotels and airport staff that he just decided to go and try to get a Twitter mob against. I mean, just bizarre stuff. I don't know about this specific one. I remember there was also a hotel incident. Wasn't there something where MVP wanted to kick his ass in a hotel?
No, that was completely different.
That was in a hotel. But it was in a hotel.
That was in a hotel.
This guy can't be in a hotel without causing problems.
He was also tweeting about not only a hotel not having the rooms that he paid for, but at some point he was tweeting about being ejected from a hotel. I know somebody's got to be able to do that research.
I need to stop this and talk to you because I can't wrap my head. The flexing, how does this work? Is he flexing while he talks? Or is he done like ranting drunkenly, obviously, based on his story? And the cops start talking and then he goes into flexes? Is it the classic Hogan style flex?
I think he flexes first. According to the play-by-play here, Jericho raised his arms and flexed to show his dominance and stated. So then he stated, "Don't you know who I am?" Now, if he did a double bicep and said, "Don't you know who I am?" people might have thought that he was, some 50-year-old man trying to act like Hulk Hogan.
Are you Vince Neil?
But if he did that weird kind of flex thing that he does that, when he's in the ring to act like a heel at the hard camera, maybe that was supposed to be what would tip the people off that it was Chris Jericho. Does he have a trademark flex?
Do you know who I am? Yeah, you're arrested.
Yeah.
That's who you are.
What kind of bird don't fly, as they used to say in the territories?
I don't know where or when, but we've heard other stories about him in hotels and loud music and maybe not necessarily being kind to the staff when they're trying to do their job. And now here we have another story. This one apparently has supporting footage, which I'm dying to see.
He's the Donald Trump of hotel disturbers. When he does it, there's footage and everything.
Serious question. If you are someone who's booking wrestlers to come to, for whatever reason, to work for you, to do appearances, whatever it may be, if you fear they're going to be a problem in a hotel based on their own track record, do you think twice before you do it? Because at some point, this headache's going to hit the person that brings them over.
Yeah, well, or over or down or up. It can be domestic also. The other day, I think Hey Derek was, he was in fucking Butte, Montana or wherever. But the point is, it was the same thing back in the territory days to a lesser extent, because then the promoter obviously didn't pay for guys' hotels, unless you're bringing the world champion in, or the Sheik is coming to do business with Mike LaBelle in Los Angeles or whatever. Guys paid for their own hotels, but the promotions a lot of times in regular towns would have a deal where the guys got a rate at a particular hotel. The heels would be at this hotel, the babyface would be at that hotel. They'd have their own dedicated group of girls to come and etc. So they wouldn't be socializing, but you could get a better rate than if guys just wandered in. But as guys usually would, they would fuck up some kind of way. They'd trash a hotel room or they'd cause some kind of scene. And because of one or two guys, the hotel would cancel the fucking rate. And then they'd have to find a new place to go. And that's Bill Watts would keep back, as everybody's talked about, your last 2 weeks' paycheck, because he wanted to make sure when guys left the territory, they didn't leave the hotel stuck for a bill, or they didn't, leave anything unpaid that he might hear about during that time. And Grizzly's ears were everywhere. Now in the modern days, when either the independents, if they're bringing a star in, they pay for their room, or if, they're goddamn AEW or WWE, WWE doesn't, but AEW, apparently, according to what Tony Khan says, he pays for the first class hotel accommodations. If you fuck something up there, you're costing a ton of people a ton of problems, and you're costing Tony a lot of money, because it's not like, the guy cost himself or just the boys a fucking good rate at a hotel they like to stay at. It's a big fucking deal, and the promotion is on the hook for multiple times more rooms than it was in the old days. So, yeah, my God, we're all grumpy when we're traveling, but is this a me, the worst traveler in recorded history, do not have as much trouble on the road with various people as Chris Jericho does, that he just reports himself on Twitter. I don't know how this is happening to a man with his cachet in the industry and standing in the community.
I would probably if I had to guess, say overinflated ego and alcohol mixed together
That could
with
be.
bad music.
Whereas with me, it's just crankiness and cholesterol.
Flexing. How is he flexing? Like, what is he, like, when and how? Is it when he's talking, he's like angrily talking, so he's flexing? Or like, does he stop and like hit the double bicep? Is he going into the whole Luger thing? Like, what is he doing? And he doesn't have the physique for that. Why is he flexing?
Well, he looks big in those leather jackets.
Is he wearing a shirt when they arrest him?
Does it say shirt? It doesn't say shirtless, I don't think.
Because then he's flexing in at least a shirt. I mean, unless he's wearing a vest. Who knows?
It could have been, because it was probably late at night. These things usually happen late that night.
Did you ever have a single problem with Chris Jericho when he worked for you in terms of being rude to the staff at any place, or other than Dairy Queen? Any incidents?
No, just, like I said, he ran off all the girls, but he wasn't particularly rude to any people that he met in a professional capacity along the way, but he hadn't got there yet. He wasn't a megastar at that point.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have a story about Chris Jericho coming to your hotel, please get in touch with us, CornyDriveThru@gmail.com.
Or any other, it could be restaurant. It
Airport.
could be any airport, any type of service location. We'd like to hear your thoughts and your experiences.